I'll tell you a secret, LNRA. I used to think that those were hard disks because I was used to the big 5¼ inch bendy ones, because obviously they're floppy disks because they move, and the 3.5 ones, they're hard disks because they don't bend. Hey folks, how's it going? I'm CPC Gamer. Welcome to the stream. I hope everybody's doing okay today. Yes, big smart moment for me putting those discs together. I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm doing okay. I think I had a really good stream yesterday, and I've been buzzing off that. It was nice to come back to a game that I was familiar to and that I really like, despite terrifying me. It was nice to have like everybody here riffing on the game and me. I liked these things. So, also the Sushi Princess, the person we raided into, she's pretty cool. I enjoyed hanging out in her stream afterwards. But that was then, and this is now, because today, it's just that, today we're going to finish Bloodstained. I suspect. I think I'm at the final boss, but at the same time, Symphony of the Night, when you got to 100% castle completion, the game went, oh no, now you've got to get it up to 217%. Have fun. And you did. So I'm kind of wondering if this game's going to do that. I don't know. I suppose we will find out. I have like a shopping list of like 5 things to do today in the game. So we will... Let's go over to the game and say, hello Miriam, hope you're doing alright. And we'll get to our to-do list. So let's go. Let's also drop that, because I boosted game audio super high for Fatal Frame. And we need to drop it again for this one. Hopefully that's better. So, first thing, I did a bit of grinding. You can see I got this swanky new headwear. I got a cool rainbow scarf. Most of that was doing the side quests, like the cooking and the Graveyard Keeper side quest. And that's about the main thing that I've been doing between streams. I just did that because I really like cooking, in-game or out of it. Also, important notice, friendship ended with 8-Bit Fireball. Void Breath is my new best friend. Look at this. It just vaporizes stuff. This is the best thing I've ever picked. It doesn't have as high a damage output as the 8-Bit Fireball, but this one is hit scan. So I barely need to aim with it. I just look at an enemy and away they go. Oh, Wales, thank you for the lurk. I appreciate knowing that you're here. That wasn't even a lurk. You're just here throwing glitter on people. I'm so sorry. I reacted to the wrong command. Now there is glitter everywhere. Amazing. So, the first thing that we have to do is on the train. I admit I looked this one up. Somebody told me there was a secret hiding on the train. I couldn't find it. I thought it was to do with this chair, where you can sit down and look out of the window. And that is indeed the case. However... Oh, also, I also got this high jump glyph. That probably would have been really useful before I kept trying to do the invert skill. Oh well. So, there is something that you do in this train to trigger a secret fight. It is to do with taking a seat in that chair right there. However, you've got to do the correct timing. And I'm a drummer. Timing is very important. You think that I'd know that, but I didn't. So let's just hang around on top of the train and maybe pose for the fans and wait for the appropriate time. Which unfortunately takes a bit. Because I did learn this section is still timed. Like after a certain length of time, the train will arrive at its destination and you are forced off into the underground sorcery lab. It's just that when you get to the final door, you can skip there rather than just hanging around on the train grinding out monsters, I guess. We're not there yet. Okay, now we're there. So, when you get onto the bridge, if you take a seat, Miriam will start to fall asleep. And, like, do you see that? This monster spawns to say hello. And it does a really good job of killing you. What the hell? But at least we got curse resistance, so I'll take it. Okay, so that was one of the first things that was on my to-do list. Also, the train wheels down here, they're moving the wrong direction. I noticed this while I was hanging out on the train in the past. Right, what is next on my list? Next on my list is one of those. Now, I did a bit of tinkering with the spell that we got at the end of the last stream, because we beat what I had thought to be the final boss, but it wasn't. We just got a skill from them. And playing around with it, I found out what it does. And this is presumably how we get to the final boss, but it's also going to be how we... Is it this one? Yes, it is. But it also shows us how to get a couple of treasure chests, still having trouble with that phrase, that exist in the Oriental Sorcery Lab. And I will show you. Let's go there and collect those things. Which is over here. This is one of the places where I did a fair bit of grinding to get one of the cooking ingredients. Because there is something that is only dropped. Nice. There is something that is only dropped by this guy over here. And it has an absurdly low drop rate. It's called like flying pork or something like that. Never drops it. And you need something like 4 of them in order to get it, get all the cooking ingredients done. So yeah, wasn't a fan of that. Now I've got to work out how to get back down there. There it is. There it is. Okay. So, last time, we came across this here treasure chest, and we didn't know how to get it. Well, this guy is a teleport spell. So we can just warp through and we can collect it. Is there anything down here? No. But that also means that we can go down here and speak to this guy.
Benjamin, seriously.
Oh, Benjamin! His name was Benjamin. I kept forgetting his name last time.
Well, it wasn't my fault, Miriam, I swear.
I hope you're ready to live here forever.
Oh, come on. Please, you can't tell me your mind is never wandered. For just one split second, I remember this mystic land called Nippon that I heard about, and...
Farewell, Benjamin.
Wait. Don't leave me here.
If I find you in even one more strange place, foot, skull.
Oh, all right. But could you please help me? Please? Yes? Say yes. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get it right this time.
You had better get it right this time.
Always knew you cared.
Get out of here!
I'm getting. Kisses. Love you, don't change. Mean it. Hope I don't see you again.
Unbelievable. I had better make sure he made it back to the village.
Oh, nice! That's a lot of money. I'll take it. But, yes, she makes a good point. Let's go back to the village. See if he's still here. Or actually here this time, because he didn't make it back yet. Oh, he did! Nice. Kelly, hello! Good to see you.
Look who made it home, huh? Well done, eh?
Thank heavens for miracle.
I know. Sorry for, before, but here, take this.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, just a little family heirloom. I think it'll serve you better than me.
Thank you, Benjamin. I appreciate it.
Adversity ring. What is that? Status inflictions to increase your power. That's useful, I suppose, but it is still kind of a drop in my stats. Oh yeah, I got this for doing the Gravekeeper side quest, the Solomon Ring. It drops shards more often, but also you get a lot of really good stats from it. Look at that. I think I know what I'm going to do with this money.
Oh, hello, miss.
Because there was an item that I saw in here. Oh no, still can't afford it. I thought it was 100,000 that I'd received, not 10,000. Well, let's buy
Is this... Oh, thank you.
some more of those.
Is this... There you are. Is this... Oh,
And
thank
some more
you.
food, because
Is this
food is
Pleasure doing... Is this...
always good.
There you are. Is this...
And I'm pretty sure most of this will give me some
Oh,
stat
thank
boosts,
you.
because I haven't eaten it.
Is this... Oh, thank you.
Like, I made most of this stuff for the cooking side quest, but then turned it in, so I didn't get to eat it. So I don't get the stat boosts from it, which is unfortunate. Okay, next stop. We're gonna go to the library, you say. The library, you say? I should explain that, because I'm gonna keep doing it forever. I have been doing that forever. So, where is it? Is it you? Over there. There is an old BBC comedy show, The Goon Show. Very funny. I like it. I blame it for my love of surreal humor. And there's this one episode that's a murder mystery. And the detective shows up, and the butler's like, yes, I stowed the body in the library. The library, you say? Yes, I moved it there after he had drunk the tea that I had poisoned. The library, you say? And so it goes on like this. And it ends up that the detective has, like, a full handwritten signed confession from the butler.
Here to take out a book?
And all he can determine is that the library is important somehow. Anyway, I'm here to collect this guy.
I'll go with this.
That tome is especially valuable. Make absolutely sure you return it.
I'm sure it's fine. What could possibly go wrong if I don't do that? Nothing. That's what. Go over here to the ice world now. And, not cool, Ice Elemental. Although you have reminded me that I should probably get rid of Dimension Shift and change you back to Void Ray. There we go. There is no save point nearby. So what I'm going to do, because you may have seen a suspicious looking door has suddenly appeared, I'm going to go and save. And I'm going to save in the village, because that's the closest one. So this one is something else that I had to look up. I will admit that one. I would not have thought to take out that book and then basically do with it what we have to do with it. So I don't feel any shame in that one. It's like looking up the passport photo, which is my go-to. I didn't know that was the solution for this game, so whatever, it's fine. Alright, now we're going to the ice world. And now we're going to see what's there. And do the thing. So you remember this room that I said, this looks like a boss room?
Stop.
OD?
I warned you. What you take from the library must be returned to the library.
Oops.
You'll pay for this transgression. Death is too kind for you.
Yo, it is Alucard, because that's a line from Symphony of the Night. That's, He says that when he fights the succubus.
Return what you borrowed.
Oh my god, it is Dio! Because that was his thing, when he does the time stop. Okay. And this is Soaridol! Oh, game, you're spoiling me! Maybe not, because you're beating me up as well, but like, yes! Let's get some extra stats while we're doing this. By the way, I also went on a feeding spree while I was on a break. Look at all this food I ate. Look at all these stats I have, bottom right. I also like that you could just slam your head into the ceiling with the high jump. You could do that in the original game as well. Wow, this is tough. Hopefully, I'm strong enough to do this? I don't know. I got a bunch of levels. I should be fine. I'm gonna say maybe. Maybe I have enough health. Oh, Wales, don't even worry about it. If your boss called you, you gotta answer your boss. Oh, thank you, Crusader, for the cool parry. I'm glad I brought you. Nice!
Impossible!
Oh. Do I get Zawardo? Oh, I do. Oh, game. Now, the next thing I have learned is, having done that, you can actually go back to the library, and you can say hello, and you get a little something for doing that.
Oh, Dee? You're still alive?
Vampire, remember?
Right. Sorry. I suppose you'll be wanting your book back.
No, you defeated me, which means you now command me. Pillage my shelves as you please.
I'll go with oh.
We can now take out all 21 books from the library, which gives us a fairly substantial stat boost across the board.
Pillage my shelves as you please.
I did. Amazing. Oh wow, you can already see that we're moving faster as well. What's next? Next on my list is... let's go fight Ego. Hopefully, I'll be able to do that. I figure if I'm able to do the Dio fight, then maybe I can fight like the creator of the game. Who knows? What is balancing? I think that's pretty clever, though. Like, if you explicitly disregard what the librarian says, you have to fight him. I've known some librarians, and I know this to be the case. And, like, don't touch my sister's books either, because you'll meet the very same fate.
As long as I am called for, I will keep wavering.
So I've got nothing on this one. He's kind of like a souped-up version of Dracula from the original run Castlevania series, like Rondo of Blood and that. But, like, powered up, because he's the guy who created it. Why not? That... what? How I avoid that? Game, tell me that. Don't get greedy. Heal, Andy. Heal. I know you're thinking it. So was I. But here I am to actually do that. It's the campy villainous laugh as well. I love it. Like, the announcement for this game was Iga basically showing up in a castle and recreating the intro to Symphony of the Night. It's like, I just want to do that again. Here's me showing that off. And he... Nice! Oh! Oh, chat. Speaking of the intro to Symphony of the Night, that better be the thing.
Unacceptable.
It isn't, but that's pretty cool. I like that. That's got to be like a developer's in-joke, right?
Unacceptable.
Surely that's an in-joke from the devs. Like, I was expecting it to be, the bit where Dracula throws the wine glass to the floor. Enough talk, have at you, and all that. Right, that is, I believe, everything on my to-do list. With the exception of, like, go ahead and finish the game, which I suspect is the next thing we have to do. At least I'm fairly sure that's everything. I can't think of anything else that I had to do. There was the guy on the train. Dio. Oh, what I have to do is I have to go back and collect my thing for fighting Iga. Here's me about to just wander off without collecting my payment. As if I ever would.
Got any targets for me?
Here's what I've turned up on the monsters.
Yeah, so that's all of those. That's all done. So let's just collect this guy.
Work. Here's your reward.
Anything else?
Got any targets for me?
Here's what I've turned up on the monsters.
No. Okay, so that's all of them. Nice. The Graveyard Keeper side quest had pretty much the same ending, where it's like, hey, you're done. And now you just don't get any additional dialogue when you talk to them.
You go get him, Miriam.
Okay.
Hi, Miriam. So, what'll it be?
Let's try enhancing the red one. Oh, I can't. Of course you need lemonade to make that stronger. Why wouldn't you need lemonade to make that one stronger? Ah, well. Can I make any more food? Nothing particularly special. Okay, well,
I'll go with this.
let's just make a couple of extra bits so we have
Great.
medicine.
I'll go with this.
Because I imagine this next fight area is going to be kind of tough.
Great.
Come back anytime.
And then we'll go... yeah. Do your final dungeon.
Oh, hello, miss. Oh, what would you like to buy? Is it? Oh, thank
I can only afford one of those. This bodes well for how I'm going to do. Alright, Glacial Tomb. Let's go find that blocked off wall. Because when I came here last time, there was just a wall that we couldn't get past, and I had no idea how to do that. And the answer, as is normally the case in games like this one, is come back with a new movement ability, right? So I am. And let's see what it looks like. No, that was the final boss fight, and then this one, as you can see on the map, this is the half-finished room, and I had no idea how to get past this thing, but if we do the directional ray...
Dimension shift.
now we can.
Dimension shift. Dimension shift.
Oh, we have to keep doing it, okay.
Dimension shift. Dimension shift.
Oh, that is so much easier than using the light ray to just ricochet off stuff. Big fan. Oh. I never got that ammo capacity thing from the front of the village. I should do that. Chat, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna go get that, because I only just realized I never did. And I've been using guns so much, right? It's fine. It's cool. It means that I can show off some other cool movement thing that I was able to collect. Alright, there we go. Ammo capacity full. Something else that I was able to collect was... yeah, I got the sprint function. She does this cool Naruto run. Big fan of that. And you get that from when... If you're able to beat that ninja in a foot race, he just dies outright and always drops his shard, which is this sprint-looking thing, the accelerator. It's pretty cool. Oh, thank you, Wales. I try to tell everyone else these things, like, hey, don't be apologetic, everything's cool by me. But then, you know, why would I ever extend that same courtesy to myself? I'm not...
Dimension shift! Dimension shift!
But no, humans are just bad at that in general. Like, applying the same things to others as to themselves.
Dimension shift!
Like, the go-to example I have is, if you look at what's-his-face from work, right? If he goes home 10 minutes early, what a lazy jerk, that guy. How dare he? But if you go home 10 minutes early, well, you've definitely earned it. You know, so you deserve that break. Even though it's the same thing, and there may be different circumstances behind it, you're always going to judge other people more harshly than you would yourself. Alright, let's go find the final boss. I hope. I knew I was right to not trust this woman, by the way. I want to say that I called this way back.
So even Gramarye has failed me. Alfred was afraid of what you could do with the shards, but not I.
Look at you. Is that what you wanted? The crystal? You betrayed us, Dominique.
Oh, don't think me ungrateful. I have you and Johannes to thank for teaching me the alchemist's lore and how to control the shards. Shards, I might add, which you gave to me of your own will. Your sacrifice has become my strength.
Oh no, does she have all the powers that I sold to her during the game? Because that's an idea that I've been toying with for like a boss, where we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Why are you doing this?
Because once again, the demons appeared, and once again God stayed silent, while his servants were slaughtered mercilessly one by one. So I began to wonder, what if there is no God? What if the Lord we grovel and pray before is a lie, and our faith draws power from some other nameless, unspeakable thing?
If so, I wash my hands of it. Because God can rot.
I decided to seek a higher power, the power to slay gods.
Do you realize how many people have died as a result?
They deserve to die because they were weak, and more will follow until I obtain all I desire.
This whole mess wasn't enough for you?
If the last summoning had been enough, I wouldn't have had to bring you here.
You're after a more powerful demon. Sheeple's crystal wasn't enough to summon it, so you needed mine instead.
Smart girl. I like that. But your crystal was too clean, too pure. So I made sure you would obtain shards and acclimate yourself to demonic power. Then Gremory could possess you after the battle with Jeeble had worn you down. If Zangetsu hadn't betrayed me...
Doing the right thing isn't a betrayal.
You know what? I never expected to be put in a corner like this. You leave me no choice but to play my final card.
Say it with me, chat, especially you, Alana Ray. Have we activated her trap card? It appears yes, we have.
I will use my crystal and the Libelo Gaiath to summon Baal, the ultimate demon.
Do you realize what will happen to you?
Do you? You don't. So I'll tell you. There's a reason Jeeble survived 10 years ago.
What does he have to do with this?
It was in his blood. An exorcist, like me. Our blood suppressed the crystal corruption and effectively spared his life. And now I have surpassed him. I command the crystal through Enochian script. No demon is too powerful for me to summon, even if I cannot keep it here forever.
But the process is slow, because I can see the summoning isn't complete.
Do you really think you can stop me before then?
Oh, I hope we're not on a timer for this fight.
Oh, yes, I do. You don't understand what power is for. You wield it stupidly, arrogantly, and now you will pay the price.
But enough talk. Have at you. All right. Let's change you back to you. So I've wanted to do like a boss fight that's like the shopkeeper in the game, but based on how much money you've given them, that's how much HP they have, or if you've sold them potions, that's what you can do with, like, they can use all the potions you've sold to them, or all the useless skills you don't want that you gave to them. I think that'd be pretty cool. Oh no! It's the one Darkstalker stage!
Hello there.
Okay, this is pretty cool. Are they platforms? Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not platforms. They are things that are attacking me. Let's not do that. Are these guys constricting? I feel like these guys are constricting. I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of most things in this game. Alright, no, we're one down. One down.
You leave me
Oh, she's over there. Hello. You're like, what's it? From that one Castlevania game. Is it Graham, his name? The guy who just shows up in the middle of this eldritch horror. Joined together at the eyes, and it's terrifying. Pardon me a second while I just have some fish and chips and a real fruit smoothie. And like a gallon of apple juice. Now we're ready for round 2. I'm also kind of hoping that the other two parts of this fight don't resurrect. Have I... Did I speak too soon? No, I didn't! Oh, nice! I told you, Void Ray is my new best friend. Imagine having to do that, but like, aiming precisely. You gonna betray me as well? Like, are you the third form?
Dominique. She could have done so much good, but...
I know.
Wait. The Liber Logaeth.
The book that started it all. What are you going to do with it?
The same thing the Master was trying to do.
Try to take over the world!
Before he died.
Oh.
He inscribed Enochian letters onto each of the castle's structural weaknesses. Now, I will use the book to perform a rite here at the heart of the castle. The rite will activate the Enochian script and send the castle and demons back from whence they came.
So that's what Alfred was trying to accomplish.
We need to begin. Stand back, Miriam.
Do we at least get a chance to escape? Because I'd like a chance to escape. Good plan, oh Wales. Let's take a brief little bit of hydration right here. And we escaped somehow. That's fine, I had waystones in my inventory. We probably just used those.
It's over.
Yes. You've made the world right again.
Not without sacrifice. Jeeble, Alfred, Zongetsu.
I'm kinda with you, oh Wales. I was expecting a third form. There's always 3 forms in video games, but apparently it's just 2.
Jeeble's fate was already sealed. There was nothing you could have done. And the Master and Zangetsu made their own choices. They fought gladly and proudly for what they believed in. Lives like theirs deserve to be celebrated.
True. And demons still remain in this world. We can grieve later, after finishing the last of them off.
That reminds me. The Master took note of how I was forestalling your corruption and suggested some improvements. I think I might be able to stop the crystal from overtaking you permanently.
Really?
I can't make any promises, but yes, I think.
Well, thank you, Johannes.
You're very welcome. Come on, let's go home.
What are these subtitles? I keep having to point out that the subtitles aren't what the subtitles are. Game. It's like the most impersonal thing is to call out missing subtitles, but don't do that. Well, there we go. GG, everybody. I'm going to put my controller down and tilt my chair because I'm going to look at the credits. And I'm going to tell a story that I keep wanting to say, but I kept getting distracted. Yeah, David Hayter. I knew it was. And yeah, Robbie Belgrade is OD/Dio. Amazing. So, this does appear to be the end. Yes, indeed, oh Wales. Not the end of the stream. I still have a couple hours left to do something. Probably going to take a look at some of the other game modes. But yeah, it's the end of the game, and I think I did a pretty good job. Look at all these cool skills I didn't show during the game. I never got that parry down, except for like that one bat. Anyway, the reason I was going to do Symphony of the Night originally, and I may yet do it, because I found a way to properly stream it, was, I own a copy, and it was a present from a friend. She was not a video gamer, so she asked around her friends, hey, I want to get a game for my friend for his 21st, whatever it was. What do you recommend? And she sent me this copy of Symphony of the Night, an original run copy on the PS1. And she's like, I heard this game was alright. Maybe you'll enjoy it, I don't know. Cut to me slack-jawed because this is one of the best games. End of sentence. And now I have a copy and I can play it and it's great. And even though she wasn't much of a gamer, she very much enjoyed listening to me explain, oh, I've done this bit and I've done that bit and I've completed it today and this and that. And this friend is no longer with us, unfortunately. And that's real sad. And I wanted to play Symphony of the Night, specifically her copy that she had, or the copy that she had sent to me, it's mine, to be like, hey, this is something that I think Heather would have enjoyed. So, here it is. And I had to switch over to Bloodstained because I will have to try and get some footage of it, because it looks horrendous trying to run this game through my capture card, because it's like 20-year-old software not designed for anything I own. So, you know, it looks awful. But one of my friends was, oh, I heard that loop in the music. Sorry, no, bad brain. I wanted to play it to show off, and one of my friends suggested, well, why don't you do Bloodstained? Because I know that you own it. It's on my to-do list. Like, it's in my pile of games that I've just never looked at. Really? Tom Hewlett worked on this? Okay, that's pretty cool. And yeah, that was my decision. I figured, well, we'll go with the follow-up to Symphony of the Night, which is the same thing, but in a fancy dress. And yeah, there you go. That is my tribute to my friend. And thank you very much, Oh Wales. It was a while ago, but it's still something that, like, it still shows up a lot, and I think about him a lot, as you do with friends. And, like, yeah, when I got the ability to do games for the internet, I figured that one, because it's a good game anyway. Hang on. And we're not even at the special thanks yet. I imagine the special thanks is going to be most of these credits, and that's when the controller's going to fall asleep. Because, like, when the Kickstarter for this game came out, it basically set the internet on fire, and everyone kickstarted it. I didn't, because I came to it late. I only heard about it after it had closed, which is unfortunate, because I would have backed the hell out of this game. And you'd see a picture of me in here. But I didn't. So there you go. And thank you also for the love to Jaded Mew. It was an interesting series of days, I'll tell you that. It's like, I don't want to bring people up or start slinging mud or anything. Oh, that's gonna be your clue for how to get the fairy to sing to you. Lovely. But no, about the same time, I was missing my friend very much and mourning their loss, and someone was decided that would be a good time to like take some shots. So that was interesting. And we don't speak about them anymore. Except for now, explaining it. Which is kind of the problem with just deciding that you're not talking about somebody anymore. You've got to remember why, you know? It's like your guy who... I forget. I want to say Herodotus? Herostratus. Thank you, Google. Herostratus, who burnt down a library because he wanted to be famous. And they issued a law that said nobody mention Herostratus, which kind of had the opposite effect, because now his name is enshrined in law. And we know exactly who he was and why he was famous. It's like Al Nasir and his terrible copper. All we know is that this guy sold really bad copper. Oh, history's great. Oh, that's how you're supposed to launch that guy up, with the high... Okay, here we go. It is 57:03 on my timer. Let's see... Let's see how long this takes. Thank you for that background picture. I wonder if I know any of these names. It's always really, really interesting when, like, you see somebody show up and it's like, hey, I know that person. I've got a book. And, Crowley9, one of the guys who shows up in my channel a lot, his name shows up in the credits in the back, and I was like, oh, hey, I know that guy. Tim Robbins, presumably not that one. Rich tea, the worst kind of biscuits. Kind of glad that we don't really have any English people in the chat right now, because man, they would fight me over saying that rich tea biscuits are the worst. Which is weird, because they are. They just... You dunk them in your tea and they fall apart. I don't like that. Give me a hobnob, they're the best kind. All the hot takes come out when I'm left to my own devices. Can we speed these up? No, we can't. I don't want to, like, skip them in case there's a bit at the end. And I suspect there is a bit at the end, because... I'm going to finish this thought first, then I'll reply to you. I suspect there is a bit at the end, because that's how games go. But also... Zangetsu's sword went missing, so somebody, presumably him, came and collected it. There we go. And to your comment, no, biscuits are not supposed to fall apart in your tea when you dunk them. They're supposed to just fill up with tea and become soft, and then you eat them. And the bits that go into your tea, no, they're the worst. I see Zach on its own as a name. I'm gonna say that's Matt McMuscle's cat. Because I'm sure Matt has backed this. And he does love his cat. As he should. It's a good cat. Never forget Iga did this. He did. Good job, Iga. He hopefully showed Konami that people want to play this kind of game, even though Konami keeps canceling it. Okay, we've had about 10 minutes of backers. Is this going to be backers round 2? Amazing. People in the future, feel free to skip ahead until the end of this, because this is just going to be me looking at names and going like, hey, that guy's listed as number 6. Fancy that. Although, my mum would always say, you have to stay and watch the credits, because, well, hang on a second, because one day, it could be your name up there on the screen. And then you'll all point and you'll go, oh, look, it's me. And we went, that'll never happen. Don't be foolish. And then, cut to me and my friends watching Sonic 2 and pointing at my friend's name who worked on Sonic 2. And, well, there you go. Now I have been proven wrong. I don't believe any of my friends have worked on this game. And I don't believe I'm going to see anyone that I know. Unless it's like... Vinny Vinesauce is in here somewhere. Although that is something that I need to try. That's definitely something we're going to do next. Before we all see what else is on... What else we can do with this cartridge. I see a gap. Is that the end of the credits? No, it's not! Oh my god, game! I mean, in fairness, I would want to have a special thanks credit in a game if I had provided special thanks. So... Hey, there you go. Okay, so looking at it, there are a bunch of passwords based on YouTubers / backers / whatever. And I know the one that I want. And... Alright, is there a bit after the game? No, we're not. We're just going to get booted to the main screen. Okay, well, there you go. That was 15 minutes of Kickstarter backers. Please enjoy. Oh, nice. We get the sound test.
Know that Johnny Galanis, Captain Thrashbeard, will be the Pirate King.
Oh, it's one of those. This is have solid stakes, say words.
Dumb, but cool.
Right. We're going to take a look at extra mode in a bit. Let's go. How do I... How change? Backer ID, not that one. There it is. Right. So there's a whole list of names based on YouTubers and, like I say, backers. And the one I want is Spongy Vine.
The Industrial Revolution
Johannes, are you certain it
Oh, that's what the character is supposed to look like. I remember. Right, equipment. We have the Vine Sword. Sword of Vines that utilizes ancient corruption magic. Alright. What does it do? I don't have double jump yet. Stop trying to double jump. Keeping the Vine Sword.
Good. You're prepared.
So Vinny's thing
I'll take care of it.
is that he likes to do game corruptions. I was kind of expecting that to show up as a thing with the game, but apparently not. It's just it's just a sword called the Vine Sword.
How did they get inside?
A shame. It also doesn't appear to be super great if it's only like 10 damage, but there you go. Ooh, Octopath Traveler. I hear that game's real good. Anyway. Yeah, this just looks to be a pretty decent starting sword.
This device responds to magic. Maybe I just need to hold my hand up to it.
So let's go to the title screen, and there you go. That's a secret for one of the backers. I wonder if Vinny paid for that, or someone paid to put that in there, because people do like that guy. Good streamer. Go watch him. Right, extra mode. What do we got? I feel like I might regret this, but let's do boss rush mode, which is a pretty standard thing for games like this now. Let's also go back to Void Ray. Okay. Are you okay? Oh, it's like All-Star mode in Kirby games. You have to like go back to the central rest area, and that gets you whatever else. Yeah, and then you can heal. Pretty clever. Incidentally, there are also special things you can get during the game for beating bosses without taking damage, but that doesn't appear to work during boss rush mode. Probably for the best, because I appear to be just vaporizing guys with this thing. This is why it's my favorite. The medals that you get don't actually do anything. It's just to say that you have them, that you're pretty good at the game. And that's a pretty cool design philosophy from the creators. In fact, Iga likes the idea that you should be able to beat every one of his bosses without taking damage if you know how they work. And I like that. I can never do it, because I'm really bad at it. I'm good at just slamming my cup into my microphone, apparently. Ignore that. But I like that that's an idea he has in his game design. I'd want to do that. Oh, I remember you boys. You were pretty difficult. Oh, that's interesting. I thought those guys, like, had individual health bars. Okay. Let's try course 2. I thought this was going to take me longer than a minute. So, I don't know, guys. I'm just going to shrug and wonder what I'm going to do next. Let's go back to you, because teleporting around isn't helping. This fight's pretty cool, because like, it takes place on a 3D plane, and I'm never entirely sure how it works. Why the portrait's facing in, not out, I don't know. Pretty cool either way.
Start with this and a dash.
Man, that guy was tough, even with the super cheap ray gun. I'm amazed I beat that. Oh, okay. Timer keeps going while you're in the rest area. That's not a... That's not a Smash Brothers thing, or a Kirby thing. Here's a thought. I wonder if I have New Game Plus, if I can go back and collect the medal for, at the very least, beating the Sea Witch. Because I did her fight just fine in boss rush mode without taking damage. You just had to get close enough to use this guy. Game? You got anything else for me there, game? Or are we just gonna fade out the soundtrack and fade in the... I was gonna say fade in the final boss. I gotcha. I was also wondering if I'd have to do, like, the trick in that one and go for the moon. Evidently not. Should I be collecting those every round? Because if I can get, like, 1,000,000 free health ups and MP ups, I'll take that. I'll bring those into the main game. That's something I've been thinking about, like, what to do next with Bloodstained. Partially in terms of streams, but, like, me as a person, what do I do with this next? I know that I want to do the other two characters. Zangetsu is a playable character. And basically, the day that I decided I was going to stream this, they updated the game and added someone else. I have no items. I deserve this. That's what I get for becoming cocky. So I know that I want to try out, well, there we go. I want to try out, I thought the game was taunting me then. I want to try out the game and see what happens with, Aurora, what those guys do. Dunno. We'll see. Maybe not right now, because I've just played this game. And I do have my next long-form thing in mind. I just haven't decided yet. Do I do it tomorrow? Do I do something else tomorrow? I don't know. Let's go see what those things do. Do I have... So I collected a 16-bit coin for completing the boss rush. Do I have that in my inventory now? Because if I do, I know what I can do with that. And I might have to spend a little money. But... oh, I do! Sorry. Just holding up something to my ear and ramming it into my earphones. That's fine. Okay, so you can't tell this, but as I mouse over the 16-bit coin, my controller starts vibrating real hard, like a heartbeat. I think that item is cursed. So, what do I need item-wise?
Hi, Miri. What are we transmuting this time?
There's one of the weapons that I wanted to try. And now that I have this 16-bit coin, I believe I can upgrade it as well. Did I just see Glamdring? No, I didn't. Alright. Yeah, this guy, the Encrypted Orchid. I need an 8-bit coin. Okay.
Pace yourself out.
We're back to the usual between-stream activity of just shuttling back and forth.
Is this pleasure doing business? Is it? Oh, thank you.
That one I need, that one I don't. I need 4,000 gold. That's what a... that is what an 8-bit coin costs.
Is this? There you are.
So if I can just sell
Is this? There
bits to get up there, that'd be fine. This is one reason the Void Ray is so great, by the way. I have lots of them. One of the enemies that I was farming drops it staggeringly often, so I just, I don't know, kept collecting them. Let's sell some weapons,
What would you like to sell?
because I don't need those. And,
Is this rock? Oh, thank you. Is this? Oh, thank you.
right.
Oh, what would you like to buy?
This is, excuse me, this is probably going to be the last thing that I will do with Bloodstained today. And then after that, I don't know. Sushi Princess, hello. How's it going? I hope we're doing well. I'm going to pause for a brief moment, and I'm going to do one of these. Yeah. So, Sushi Princess is the person I raided into yesterday. And she's playing Fatal Frame games, doing a really good job of it. I actually said to a couple of my friends afterwards, like, this was a really good person to have raided into. I'm having fun watching this person stream.
So,
and just,
what'll it be?
just having a chat with them is great. This game is really, really good. It's if you've ever played Symphony of the Night, it's that, but with a lot of quality of life improvements. So that's great.
I'll go with this.
So, I believe I should be able to, like, do something with that now that I have gotten this 16-bit coin from Boss Rush. Just have to find it.
I'll go with this.
Ooh, I like it.
And... oh, yeah, there you go. I need a 32-bit coin. That's... I imagine that's going to be from, like, Boss Rush Round 2 that I was having a bit of trouble with. You have figures of Alucard and... oh, amazing! Are they articulated, or are they, like, statues? Statues. That's pretty cool, too. Where is that thing? See, I'm back into the weapons now, so I don't think I'm going to be able to create a 32-bit coin. I think I'm going to have to find one. And I think it is going to have to be from the Boss Rush. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. A user has redeemed Show and Tell. I'm going to go for Azoxe? Azoxe?
Come back if things start to go awry.
It's my turn to not be able to read names. Well, as is tradition, let's have Miriam take a seat, save our game, and then she can watch us do some show and tell. So let me turn my chair so I can see my screen properly. Show and tell today is... oh, okay, so this is a greetings card, which was drawn and painted by a friend of mine and a chat member and wife, Criddle, and every so often she will just make a card and mail it over to me just because. This one in particular makes me smile a lot, and I usually keep this in my locker at work. I've had to bring it home to take this picture, because, again, not taking pictures of where I work. That'd be dumb. And I keep it in my locker because this is what it says inside, and just seeing that really brightens my day, and it really makes me smile, and I enjoy it very much. And it's one of those things where no matter how bad of a day I have had, how bad the clients have been, or the co-workers, that is enough to slow everything down a bit and send to me a little better. So that is... it usually lives in my locker at work, but I brought it home just to show off to the end. I was kind of hoping she'd be here to see this, because it's cute when she blushes and falls into herself, but she'll just have to see this later on YouTube. Hi! I hope you're enjoying it. I hope you don't mind that this is what I chose today. I still didn't come up with a good ending for show and tell. I hoped you liked the presentation. That's what I chose today. Yes, indeed, it is her first day of school today. I'm very proud of her for doing this. And when I've uploaded it, we'll send it over to her. But there you go. That's today's show and tell. A nice card that makes me smile every time I see it, because she's very, very talented. One of the things she redeemed in the past was a compliment. And I mentioned I'm in awe of the way that she can just create stuff. She's very good at cooking. She's very good at being creative, and this is one of the things that I'm talking about. She just sat down and just drew / painted a card, and I can't do that. I can barely draw you a picture of the chair I'm sitting in, right? That's so cool. I'm gonna go back to the game now. And, do you know what? I still have a little bit of time, so what I'm going to do... This one isn't going to be a full playthrough, but let's see how some of the other characters look, because that'd be pretty cool. My controller's still rumbling pretty hard. Hang on a second. We're just gonna chill out on this screen for a little bit while we wait for the game to reboot. I kind of forgot that my mic wasn't on mute, so I'm just sitting here just having a drink, so I'm sorry if I slurped that. Oh, whales, please enjoy your nothing. In particular, on this screen, it is literally nothing. There's nothing happening on this screen. Although, what you can do is, if you do a bit of that, she's confused, but also thinking about the emotes there. I'm glad you like this Be Right Back music. I'm a big fan. Okay. Okay, we're back. Right. That when I was coming up with, like, stuff I wanted to do for my stream, one of the first things I picked was, I want my Be Right Back music to be that goofy nonsense, right? So let's go. Okay. One of those. What was that last one? I missed that last one. Can I do that one? I can't do that one. Oh, I'm bad at inputs. Okay. So this reminds me pretty much of Richter Mode from the Symphony of the Night. You had the option to play through the game as Richter. There was no plot, because all the plot revolved around Alucard. But, like, you could do it. And you could complete the game start to finish again as Richter Belmont if you felt like it. Did I get that as Miriam? That would have been really useful to have found as Miriam. Especially against the first boss, which beat me up a whole bunch. Can I... Oh, I can slide. Great. Do you know what? I think Symphony of the Night may have been the first one to do it, but I can believe that other games... Well, I know that other games did it, because Lament of Innocence on PS2 has 2 extra characters. You can play the game as, I believe it's pronounced Joaquin, who is one of the secret bosses, or the recurring bosses. And you can play as a character called Pumpkinhead, who is a little sackcloth doll, and he attacks with a licorice whip and a candy cane. And I don't know why he's there. He's just a really cool, super overpowered extra character. It's pretty cool that you have the original Symphony of the Night on disc. It's a particularly rare item. A friend of mine tells me that there is a PAL version, but they only made like 10,000 copies. So essentially no copies. And that's why most people have the NTSC version. I do. And you missed the story, unfortunately, but like the reason I'm playing this is because it's quite a pain to capture that one. So we'll come back to it on another day. Oh, he doesn't sit down. But I do get this cool, edgy character portrait. Look at him. I love it. I don't know why I'm saving. I don't... Maybe this is going to be the rest of the stream. See how far I get until I die. I meant to do that. I meant to do that cool raging demon thing. Totally meant to do that. So the other character that they've released for this game is Aurora from the game Child of Light. I haven't played that. I don't know how she is going to play in comparison to the other two characters. It's going to be interesting to find out when I get to it. I do have a suspicion, though, that the, whatever it was, the Crown of Guidance that took me to that secret level on the train, I think that is Child of Light. Wouldn't know, never played it. I'm sure it was another game of some sort, because it looked far too, like, well-made to be just someone had a bit of time and wanted to do a pixel boss, you know? Aw. There was a cool hat up here in the original. Not gonna lie, every time the game pauses to think about loading something, my heart kind of skips a beat. As a drummer, it's one of the worst things. But, like, don't crash. Whatever you do, do not crash. I've had enough of games crashing on stream. And that is retaliation for beating me up like 3 or 4 times the first time I played this game.
Bloodstained.
Quite proud of that. Hopefully that's not the entire game. No, it's not. Alright. It looks like we are actually going to play through the entire game as Zangetsu. Cool. Kinda weird seeing nobody here, having spent so much time grinding out all the quests. So what is here? Do we have the shopkeeper and all? We don't. We don't have anyone. Okay. Well, I suppose that makes sense, because Zangetsu was a side story, and he started doing this before the other guys arrived, so it makes sense that they're not here. That's gonna be my justification. It's also weird seeing an empty map. So while I'm going through, chat, are there any, like, bonus characters you are particularly fond of? Because I kind of enjoyed... What's it? I liked the characters in Lament of Innocence, but I did only just mention it. So that might be why I'm thinking about it. I'm just trying to think of any others that, like, spring to mind. And I'm mostly just thinking of Smash, I'll be honest, because somebody mentioned Subspace as part of this game, which made me think of Subspace Emissary, which made me dig out Smash. So I'm gonna play Subspace Emissary. That's next on the list. Did I come down here as Miriam? I don't remember. It's been so long. But yeah, Subspace Emissary is next. I'm gonna play that. That's a fun game. I was gonna say, how does he deal with swimming? But we'll come to that later. That is definitely not the first dungeon, so go explore this bit. How many years have I been playing Castlevania games and fighting the same bats with the same pattern, and I'm still confused by the bat attack pattern? I'm bad at this. Oh yeah, that's right, I do have the parry. I'm just historically quite bad at using it. That's right. Kinda good getting that death rattle in stereo. I like that. Pound Cake is lurking. Shush. Hello, Pound Cake. Enjoy your lurk. I hope work is treating you well. Where heal? Where get health? I don't know. Well, there we go. See, when I'm in control, the legendary hero doesn't actually do a very good job of it. Yeah. yeah, I kind of have a bad time with it. Oh, and I'm back on the boat because I got cocky and decided not to save. Do you know what, Jaded Mute? You've been right on the money every single other time. I imagine he's going to have a skill that will let him heal. What have we got? Throwing knives. Oh! I'm Widowmaker now. Or, you know, Scorpion is probably the one that they were going for. I like my answer better. That one is Charge Up Your Blade. And, no, it looks like I cannot heal. The Sushi Princess, normally the character you play as is Miriam, who has a variety of skills, usually ones that you collect from the enemies, kind of like in, well, some of the Castlevania games, would you believe? Obviously Circle of the Moon. But she can also have potions and she can cook food items, and those allow her to heal. And Zangetsu appears to not have that. It looks like you can only heal at save points. Wait a second, if I can just do that. So the cooking system is actually pretty clever. It encourages you to do it by giving you stat boosts. Every food you eat, the first time you eat it, you get a permanent stat boost. And initially, I thought that it was a case of, you know, you eat the food and it goes away after a short while. No, it's permanent. And I only realized that halfway through the game, but I'm kind of glad that I did realize it. That's right, Ori Village does something like that, doesn't it? It's been a while since I've seen that one. I know the main thing that people seem to take away from that one was Lady Dimitrescu and how she's only in the game for like 20 minutes. And then you have to fight all these other non-entities that aren't as cool as her. Oh, I get the cool intro scene again. That's fine.
Bloodstained.
Yeah. This game is calling out for just someone to say the title screen in an edgy voice over the top of it. Okay, moving on. And this time, what are we going to do? We're going to save. This is where we have a command telling me to save the game. This is where we have an emote telling me to save the game. Which I'm just going to demonstrate real quick. Where is she? Oh, it's off the side of the screen. I can't do it. Thank you, Jade Mew. Thank you, Autocomplete, as well. There you go. CPC Gamer save, please. For this very reason. Regular viewers will know I tend to become overconfident and forget that I can save. So I just don't. See, it's one advantage because, Sushi Princess, you were playing one of the Fatal Frame games yesterday that has, autosave. And it saves, like, checkpoints, but it only properly saves at the end of every chapter. So you kind of know where you're at with that game. This one is no autosave. You just have to find the save rooms. Hope you don't die on the way in. Right, now that I'm here, I actually am going to explore underground. I'm gonna get attacked by a giant rat. There's a story that a friend tells me of how he used to rent Resident Evil for PlayStation, but he couldn't rent a memory card as well, because that's what his budget was. You could have one or the other. And it is a whole new kind of horror, knowing that if you die, you actually die. You're done, game over, back to the start. Apparently it increases the tension quite a lot. Oh, Zangetsu can just swim. That's fine. Gosh, if only Miriam had it that easy. See, for me, my first gaming system was an 8-bit computer called the Amstrad CPC, hence the name. And that was like 5-10 minute load times. The games were still really, really hard, and a lot of them were just incompletable. They were that hard or bugged. There was a save point around here somewhere. Point is, it was not a good time to grow up being a gamer. Oh yeah, no. The best thing you would get would be a password. And then you just have these sheets lying around. Just random letters on it like the Enigma code. This was a bad idea. I'm going to die. And it's going to be my own fault. Oh, okay. I was going to say, I'm drawing a blank on where that is in the entrance, but of course it's there, because it's beneath the bloodied fountain. Because I guess who doesn't have the bloodsteal ability? Makes sense. Makes sense. Save point is in this room, I believe. I am reminded of the game Theme Park on Mega Drive, because my sisters and I had that. Like, it was my game, but we all played it. And password Was that a... No. Alright. Passwords for that were like a big long string of whatever it was, 16, 20 characters. Our password sheets look like insane ramblings. That's a fun game. I should play that. People who know, is 2 Point Hospital and like 2 Point Campus, is that just theme park, but with a different coat of paint? Because all the characters look like that guy from theme park. And I want to say that it's going to be like ex-Bullfrog employees just doing the game again because people like it. And if it is, I'd play it. I love that game. I think 2 Point Hospital was meant to be Theme Hospital again. Oh. Oh, the Jaded Mew, you may have sold me. I may have to look up gameplay footage, but I'd be down for that. It's one of those things where, like, I really enjoy sim games, but I kind of prefer the more simplistic ones. Give me SimCity 2000, not SimCity 4. Let me just plonk down buildings and let them run themselves, and not have to decide individual tax codes for individual streets. You'd have an easier time learning Greek than SimCity 4. Galen O'Reilly, hello. Thank you for lurking, and thank you for your input as well. Oh, I may have to look that up. Come on, down you go. Because, like, the characters in at least the original theme park and Theme Hospital, they have kind of a Wallace and Gromit look, but not quite. And they have a very distinctive look. And I look at the 2 Point pictures on, like, the storefronts and go, is it? That looks... It looks very familiar. I'm gonna go save, because I got that extra thing. Let's see how far we can get in the next hour. Let's see if we'll be hearing David Hayter growling in our sleep tonight. Maybe. Hydrate. Yes. Good plan. I, too, will sound like David Hayter if I keep going. Hang on. There we go. Hydrate. I thought I was free of drinking Lucozade to clear up my throat, but then Mom sent me like a liter bottle of it. I'm like, it's a good job I like this stuff. Alright, that's fast travel. That'll take me back home. I don't need that. I don't think I'm going to need much in the way of fast travel, because if I can't do... Should have saved! was a pretty cool finale, I'm not gonna lie. So I've heard tell of Werner's. What, do I want to know what that is? Beyond a trip? Take a look at these last two comments, chat and viewers. The duality of man right there. I keep finding all these little compartments, and like, I am dead certain that I did not come into here as Miriam. And I kind of want to check that out. But I'll forget. See, that to me sounds very much like Marmite. There's it's like a sandwich spread. And I never found out what to do with this thing as well. Yeah, it sounds like Marmite, where the whole... Michigan Report from Hell is a game that I want to play, because it's like an early sweary game that's like not quite ridiculous sweary nonsense, but it is still sweary. Oh, there's nothing in here. I was hoping for like some kind of ridiculous... Like, just give yourself an even more stupid haircut. I'd be down for that. Alls I know about the game Report from Hell is that it's got a really cool framing device, but also it's not super great. Like, there's some nonsense behind it. So hello Crawley 9, welcome in. We were talking about backer rewards earlier, and I mentioned that there is a book I have that has your name in it, and I spotted it at the back when I was looking at the backers. I'm like, hey, I know that guy. There he is. There's a save point down here, and I just need to rush to it. Nice. It is that book. It's, my sister got it for me for Christmas one year. Terrible old games you've probably never heard of. And then later on, she sent me a message going, so how many of you heard of... And, 2, I believe was the answer. Ooh, that has piercing. Good to know. Oh, then I know of 3 games that are in that book, because yes, I know of Count Duckula. Count Duckula, I want to say Zub was in there, and eSWAT Miami. which I remember really liking. But then, like, looking at the footage of, or the pictures of it in the book and reading the descriptions, I'm like, yeah, actually, this was a terrible game, wasn't it? Not eSWAT, that's its own thing. I think it was just SWAT Team Miami. Either way, I remember it. And it's terrible. I remember the magazine I used to read with, like, Amstrad game reviews. They gave Count Duckula 2% because they spelt the name right on the title screen. And it's like, the game's terrible. We can't score at 0. So this is the only place we're gonna find some points for it. You get 2% for getting your name right. Forget it. Go play Rick Dangerous 2. It's way better. And it is. I think I'm in the wrong place, because this is, like, right towards the end of the game. At least for Miriam. Which leads me to wonder... A, can I just do some power leveling? B, can I just go to the final boss room? Because Zangetsu doesn't seem to need any of the movement abilities that Miriam needed. I mean, canonically he doesn't. He's the one who arrived everywhere before her and told her how to do it. So... Incidentally, Sushi Princess, if you don't want spoilers, maybe don't pay too close attention to where I am and what I'm doing. This is like a kind of a secret area. You have to find a lot of progression things to get this far. It's fine. Nearest save. Oh no. I don't even know where the nearest save point is. That's cool. Searching for new games. That's good. Do we have any new games in mind, or is that spoilers for the upcoming streams? Because, like, I know I've got a to-do list, and I'm trying not to be like, and yes, chat, here is everything on it, because gotta have some secrets. Oh, actively trying to find some games. I got you. I got you. Well, that's cool. I have some other friends who are into collecting, like, older, like, retro games. I sent one of them a copy of Second Samurai, mostly as a gag gift, but they were actually really appreciative to have it. It's a game that they had played on YouTube, like right at the start of them doing video games on the internet. And I just happened to find it in a shop, and I'm like, well, I know who I'm sending this to. And actually, now as I remember it, that I sent it to Moors. I sent it to Moors as a birthday present. Because Moors, more than Matt, does game collection. And I thought, you know what? He is going to appreciate this. This silly game that I just happened to have found. And he did. And yeah, that also had a sheet of paper in it from whoever had owned it before me, saying like, and here's all passwords. And that was a really nice little touch. It was a cute little, like, humanizing, not humanizing, because it's, you know what I mean. Nostalgic. It was a nostalgic thing. That's the word I mean. Like, this game was somebody's. Oh, okay, okay. So, chat. I'm just gonna show you this. This right here. This was the vertical tunnel that I kept talking about. I wanted to go up with Miriam, and apparently there was a HP max up down there, and I missed it. I just accidentally stumbled into the final dungeon. That's all. Ooh, now here's a question as well. Does the unsubscribed thing work on Twitch? Oh, actually it does, because you can cancel, can't you? Please no unsubscribe. Is it still the same thing? It is still the same thing. Alright, this guy's still here. That's pretty cool. That's such a cool trick. In fairness, I did do some pretty cool stuff with the game that I don't think I would need to have done 100% playthrough. I was parrying, and the game's like, nah, parry this. Game over. That's fine. Oh, I forgot that Castlevania 2 was in that book you mentioned. I've heard of that one. But also have not played. I just know it's a terrible night to have a curse. And the graveyard duck. Which I am told is a translation thing. The game's actually talking to the effect of go to the graveyard. Pause. Duck for a secret. That's how it's been explained to me. I think that might just be justifying it after the fact, you know? I wonder what's the worst game I've ever bought. Chat, do you have any answers for what is the worst game you have ever bought? Because obviously the stock answer is going to be probably Alone in the Dark, but that game was at least serviceable and functional, and I could play it through from start to finish. But then I own, like, The Sniper 2, you know, and that game's awful. Or, I've heard a lot about Mystery of the Druids. Is that the one that uses actual unfortunate CCTV footage of an actual horrendous crime? Such that I'm not going to name it. How bad is this crime? That's good. I'm sure it's like that or like a CSI game or something. It's like, why would you use that? Why did you think that would be okay? Why did I think it'd be cool to run directly into this Iron Maiden? I don't know. Streamer brain. I'm gonna take this healing item. Please and thank you. Wait a second, I think I can get past that. Hang on. Alright, let's get rid of these boys. And then... No, I can't. Okay. Oh, okay. I think I just launched an enemy into that. And that closed the Iron Maiden. And there's nothing over here. It's just for map percentage. That's fine. I'll take it. I've seen that there's a remake of Alone in the... or at least a new Alone in the Dark. I'm tentatively excited. I kind of liked A New Nightmare. That was pretty good. As I say, the one in New York was ridiculous. And like... it was good in a bad game kind of a way. But it was still a bad game, you know? I've told the story of how I found it in a bin, and that is where the game belongs. Let's be honest. Oh, Robot Cop! Amazing! That's a game that I bought and regretted buying because I didn't understand it. Sergeant Seymour, Robot Cop. It was Bomb Jack. It was a Bomb Jack clone, and I didn't know how to play it. I thought it was going to be a Seymour game. Like, run around and get the puzzles. Nope. Sure showed me. Can I go on the train? Oh, I bet I can't go on the train because I don't have a passport. That dog enemy is still the worst. Like, it's cute and all, but I don't want it to be an enemy. Yes, hello, my name is, Georgie Costava. Oh, I got through! Sweet. I got my papers in order. Glory to... I don't know, wherever Zangetsu is from. Somewhere in Japan. Look who it is! Hello! how are you? Was school? I want to know the lore of how Georgie was able to get away with what he got away with, because you could send him to the police. And it doesn't matter how many times they took him into, like, the building for unpersoning. He would always come back the next day just fine. Just getting out of class. Very overwhelming. Papers, Please would be a good one, I think, because I tend to have a lot of fun watching it and trying to do it myself. I suspect I keep wanting to get my mum to play that one. Because without going into too much detail, and again, just doxing myself and everyone, that's basically her job. She has to go over files and find discrepancies between files. And she is a mastermind at this. And I'm convinced that if she goes to, she'll be like, ah ha ha, this particular code is incorrect on your passport. No entry to our Stotska. Do not return. This was not a smart move. I should not have come here. I can go in the coal, though. That's pretty cool. Honestly, checking the seals is probably the one that gets me the most in that game, because it's been a while, so I forget what country most cities are in, so that's gonna get me. But, like, suddenly finding out that, oh yeah, the Department of Work seal has a northeasterly facing triangle, not a northwesterly, you fool! That one always gets me. Okay, here's the question. Here's the question. I have to find out what is up here in this little secret area. Am I even in the right place? I don't think I am. No, I'm not, because I had to go down here. And I had to go down here to show off the 8-bit fireball when I got it. And then the other side of this place is where the secret thing is. Right. What on earth is up here? Game? Alright, there we go. Oh, that's right. Can't do that yet. Gotta go fight the dragon. I remember. I feel like I shouldn't have been able to do that. Generally speaking, when it came to this game, being able to jump really high and repeatedly, that seemed to be the most game-breaking thing. The game doesn't seem like very guarded against vertical movement. Which is weird, because Metroidvania games tend to have... They need to have exceptionally tightly designed maps. Because you're going to find players like me who are going to do things like that. Hey, do you remember when I was in the library and I was able to just jump on books to a section that required, like, multiple skills I didn't have yet? And it's like, I definitely shouldn't be here. But I got some cool equipment and then ran away. Bravely. I wonder if you can still get poisoned in this game. Like this version of the game. Let's not find out. Poison is the worst. Well, there's your answer. Yes, you can. I guess we had a good run, chat. I don't think you can get cool new haircuts, because I went to the barbershop, and he's not there. So I can't go cooking, and I can't get a cool new haircut, and I can't make my character black with white hair, which is a shame, because that's like the coolest character design. That said, I do like that Zangetsu is wrapped in spell tags. I mean, you make an interesting point. I'm not entirely sure what the end goal is as Zangetsu. Because I know that his story ended halfway, like, just before the final boss. So I can try to get down there, I suppose. I may actually mean those, yes. I'm just used to such things being referred to as spell tags. Just had to pause for a moment, try and work out where the save point was. Okay. I have never heard. Okay, I was gonna say I've never heard of that game. What is it? I've also never heard of the Castlevania game, which, or at least I've not heard of being able to do that in a Castlevania game. Which one is that? And how do you apply such a tag to it? You like use it as an inventory item, I guess? Oh, one of those. Okay. I do like non-standard ways of defeating enemies in games. Like, for some reason, I'm thinking of Final Fantasy IX with those giant trees. And if you use soft on them, they just melt like jelly. And instant win. Oh, it just does it automatically. Okay, I was thinking it was going to be like, the one when you have to, like, draw a seal on the DS screen. And that's how you defeat the boss. I was just thinking, like, hey, maybe in this instance, the, The fun part is, if you hit it again after that, it knocks the talisman off and it regains all its HP. You're taxing the definition of the word fun right there. I've got to be honest with you. Yeah, I just thought it was like a non-standard way of defeating an enemy. Or like, you want bit in Devil May Cry 4 where Dante refuses to do the board game. He just finds the massive dice, slashes it into pieces, and moves on with his life. Hello, Volume. How are you? Tried to parry that, didn't work, because they were moving around. Man, I could really do with that Eager shot right now. That looked like it'd be real useful. Did I get him? Yes, we did! Nice! What? 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 Not entirely sure what the camera did there, but that's fine. Alright, hang on. Right. Let's see what is up here. Do we need to record more than 2 voice clips? Nah, this is fine. Nothing. Okay, well. On with the game. That parry did kinda work. I'm kinda glad that I pulled it off. This is like one of the advantages of doing stuff on stream is like sometimes people see it, and if I do something cool, it's there and it's on video now. But then also sometimes I just stare at a puzzle for 20 minutes, like in Ikai, and that's less cool. Save point is up here. Let's get some health back. I like how I've gone for, let's see how this plays, to here we are an hour later. Let's just keep it going. Don't get cocky, Andy. There we go. There we go. Job done. Where is next? I've never been good at parrying in games. I'm not overly good with certain kinds of timing in games. Okay, you're gonna drive home now. Please drive safely. I will see you when you get home. I eagerly await. Thank you for the kind message, Crowley9 as well. Because we take care of each other in my chat. We want everyone to drive safely and get home safely. Let's go explore the underground caverns. I don't know what that was. I don't think she's trying to become invisible. But at the same time, I'm not with her when she's at school, so I don't know what she's studying. She might be doing advanced invisibility. I don't know. We may have to get that confirmed at a later date. Certainly worse subjects in school. I never liked geography, but then my teacher was kind of awful. And confirmed, she hates kids. Like there's a friend of hers, like comes to my place of work all the time, and she's like, "Oh yeah, Mrs. Such and Such. Don't know why she's a teacher. She hates kids." And I'm like, "Yes, I am justified in feeling the way that I do about geography class and her in particular." Do you know what else I never did, chat? I never did the chair summon. I feel like there's no point to having that. Like, I can't think of any... Oh yeah, you need to make this impossible jump. Crowley, I'll tell you why I didn't sit in that chair. Is because I have sat in that chair. And that one was fine. I'm just thinking about the one in the library, which just decided to go all Leroy Jenkins and throw me into a spike pit. And it was hilarious, but also no, it wasn't. I lost a lot of progress from that stupid chair. Well, you make a point, I suppose, because the chair I'm currently sitting in is quite nice. It only occasionally slips and tries to throw me backwards. It hasn't launched me into any... That's clever. I like that. Here's your little teleporter to stop having to deal with the laser beam. Clever. Again, I go back to Joaquin from Lament of Innocence, who has superior movement to Leon Belmont, but also is restricted in certain other ways. I forget specifically how off the top of my head, but I know that in that game, certain enemies just don't appear because he cannot deal with them. And it's things like he can't reach the hidden boss monsters, so they just don't show up. And there are just little bits and pieces around the game to aid in his mobility specifically. Just to take into consideration the fact that he moves differently to the other two characters. That's pretty cool. And it's also weird how, like, little bits of incremental level design can really, really change how a level is played. And I think Alana Ray has stopped paying attention, so I can talk about Overwatch, and I'll give you an example from Overwatch. The start of the Hollywood stage, they've put a piece of cover just outside the team doors for the attackers. And that piece of cover has, like, completely changed how you attack and defend on Hollywood. Like, amazing. It's not even a big, substantial wall. It's just a piece of chest-high cover. And now there's a lot more protection at the start of the game. The meta has changed. Very weird to see that kind of thing, especially when you're used to playing a game a certain way and suddenly it changes. I think I got away with it. I think he's someplace else. We're safe. And for some reason, speaking of bad level design, I'm going to say something. I think pretty much just Crowley is going to be the only person in chat who gets it, and then I'll have to explain it. You know the attic from Jet Set Willy, the one with the arrow in it? That was a really stupid piece of level design. And for context, there is a room in the game Jet Set Willy, which has an arrow flying across the top of it. But the way the arrow was programmed, it's kind of a coding thing. The code has told the arrow to move left by one, like, byte every time. But they never actually told the arrow when to stop moving. So it moves out of the room and into the game code and overwrites a massive chunk of game code, killing you instantly. And the original patch of the game has a note in the manual saying, oh, by the way, the attic's full of poison. Never go up there. You will die. And they just sort of hope that nobody noticed that that's what they did. Also the Banyan Tree. I yell about the Banyan Tree a lot. That level is hell. So the Banyan Tree is, it's one of the screens in Jet Set Willy, and it requires a great deal of moving parts all to come together at the same time, including you, the player. You need to move at the exact right pixel perfect moment, and it is notorious among like 8-bit gamers for how difficult and stupid it is. We don't like the Banyan Tree. I lost again. I am lost again. To the desert. Let's go to that cool spiral tower. I can get there in 20 minutes. We'll be fine. Especially moving this fast. Look at how fast we're going. Going at a good clip. But that's just how 8-bit games were, in a lot of cases. Just, here is an incredibly unfair set of circumstances. Solve for X. It's one of those things where I want to find a way of getting them up and running just so I can stream some. And I can be like, yo, check it out. This game is called, I don't know, Maze Mania. It was my jam. Here is On the Run by not Sensible Software, Design Designs. It's dumb, but I loved it. Incidentally, these guys, you have to farm these guys to do part of the cooking side quest. It's a pain getting here, it's a pain fighting them, and then they only randomly drop. No, bad game. Crowley9 here mentions the Prisoner game, which is, it's a trip, that game, much like the show it is based upon. The only way to lose the game is to reveal a code that the game gives to you. And you might think, dead simple, just don't say the code. But it finds ways of tricking you into typing in this number. Like, you'll be doing a maths class, and one of the answers to one of the questions is your number. And usually this is after a significant point of time. Yeah, I think we're talking to the same point here. It just asks you to repeat numbers back. And part of that sequence is your number. And the game's like, ah, gotcha, game over. Begin anew. Which is pretty clever. But also cheap. Why am I dying to a frog? Frog too powerful. Please nerf. I actually am dead now, because that's, I'm poisoned. So, I take my revenge as I go. Oh, hang on. I didn't die. To that. Yet. I would have thought for sure that, poison would have been the end of me. I'm not dealing with you. Oh, and look at that! Chat! I made it to a teleporter, and now I can just go to a save room. And I can get my health back. Cancer. Oh, hello. You make a fine observation. Skelemans are pretty universally terrifying, and it's a good job they don't exist. So, bear that in mind. Alright. Let's go back to the desert and see what else is down here. I mean, I know what else is down here. I've completed the game. I'm just having a bit of fun exploring. I'm trying to do inputs, but they're not working. I see, Crowley. Everyone says that. Have you ever seen a skeleton? Like, you've seen models of skeletons and pictures of skeletons, but like, I've seen models and pictures of Minas Tirith. So, what do you want? That's my stance on that whole thing. They're a scam by the milk companies to make you drink more milk. Strengthen your bones. Bones don't exist. I'm not paying any attention to burning to death. I'm just thinking about my stupid skeleton conspiracy. There you go. This is fine. Don't even worry about it. That is the most anticlimactic death. Okay, I think I'm gonna go explore that circular tower on the right-hand side, and then see what's there. Then we'll call it a night. Also, the follow-up comment to Crowley talking about there is a skeleton inside you right now is that the skeleton is wet. And that's just wildly unpleasant to think about, even more so than, like, skeletons. Cancer, because of gravity and surface tension. Like, I'm not a teacher, okay? I just know what I know. And that is that skeletons aren't real. Do you see now why one of my friends took me aside and he's like, I gotta ask you this. Do you actually mean it when you say that? Because you say it a lot. And you sound really convinced. Oh, that guy's got nothing for me. I'm just gonna stand here until I'm not poisoned anymore. Don't know why, actually, because I got no health. Surely there is a save point around here somewhere. There's a boss. There we go. There's meant to be a boss fight in that tower. There may yet be a boss fight in that tower. I don't know. I haven't gotten there yet. Well, I guess I can't go that way yet. So let's go this way and check out how well I do against the boss in this format.
Stand down.
Like, I had a hard enough time doing this when I had the Void Ray. I'm not having a good time of it now that I don't have that. That's still not as good as Eager's win quote. But that's mostly just because I like that kind of English accent. I suppose the answer is, don't get greedy. Which seems to be the answer to most of my problems in the main game. As with most games, as you will see as we play through them on my channel, I'm just going to get greedy, and I'm going to try and fight harder than I reasonably should. And it's going to come back and bite me. Don't know what hit me there, but that's also fine.
Start with this and a dash of this.
I'm so also, how long have I been able to do that backstep? Chat.
With the weak.
Like, I know that Miriam had one. I apparently didn't know that Zangetsu had one. So, I've learned something today. I also don't care that I'm over-leveled. I'm determined that I'm going to finish this. I'm going to do this. A spammable dodge. Yes. Let's try ice. He's using a lot of like fire moves, so let's try some of that.
Stand down.
Oh, I can just keep doing that. Yeah, that may be the spammable dodge we were learning about there, the Jaded Mute. Good shout.
Start with this.
Also, I'm not convinced that that is like an alchemical thing, or if he's just making what is essentially a petrol bomb. Because, like, people can make a device that just sets a small fire on the ground. It's like, it's knowledge. It's a weapon in worms. It's a good weapon in worms as well.
Start with this.
That was bad. I got greedy again. Ah. I did better that time. We got him to desperation mode. I'll take it. My email's like, hey, you've got a really important email. You should check it out. It's just Duolingo. I clicked away from my chat window for that. I hope you're all happy. That owl isn't.
Stand down.
Alright, let's try it with lightning. Ooh, that one looked a lot better. Let's stick with this. Oh, and the lightning tracks as well. Amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna just keep doing that. That seems to be doing the good stuff. In theory. Getting behind him seems to be doing the trick as well. That was not cool though. Just getting caught out of nowhere like that. Don't like it. Well, I think I'm maybe gonna give it one more shot, and then that will be me for the night. And then we can find someone to raid, and then at some point I'll come back and take a look at how Aurora plays, because, like I say, I'm really interested to see how she works, and I really enjoy crossover characters in video games. Alright, lightning it is. But yeah, right now... Zangetsu seems to be doing okay, only if I can pull off these movements, which should be fine. It's like quarter circle forwards. I should just be able to do that. It's a basic Hadouken, but hey, there you go. Not at speed, apparently. Don't like how I'm just randomly not immune to curse anymore. Don't know if that's anything I'm responsible for, but you know. That was getting greedy again. This guy reminds me of... Nice! There was a Dungeons & Dragons character that a friend of mine had, who had the unique character trait, not on fire. So he could know that at any point, he was in fact not on fire. I don't believe this skill ever came up in the campaign, or any campaign ever, but you know, your boy was not on fire. It's a very useful skill to have. Right. I'm gonna go to this screen right now. And breathe. I am going to be streaming at the same time tomorrow, 6 till 9 my time. I don't know what I'm going to be streaming, because I kind of hadn't anticipated that I would finish Bloodstained in the middle of my long game block, so hey, who knows? Empty slot. Who is currently playing this game? Couple of people. Before we go, and I take a look, does anybody have any suggestions for whomst we might want to raid? Because if not, I'll pick probably one of these guys and say hello. Well, I'm gonna pick this person. Everyone's gone to sleep. Let's raid that person. Zayu. They're currently playing this, and they are going to be going to a different game shortly. So let's see how they do. So yeah, come back tomorrow for something else I haven't decided yet. And until next time, goodbye.